Hey guys, Stealth here and welcome to Floodlands. In this survival city builder, the world is flooded. Now, being Dutch, I think this is my future, at least if world climate change keeps up as it is, so best be prepared. Now, thanks to Ravenscourt and Plyon for sponsoring the video. I'm able to check it out. If you want to do so too, you can check out the link down below in the description. This game has received a couple of updates ever since it got published, and this biggest update that they have been releasing right now has been worked on for about 4.5 months, and supposedly fixes all of the major player complaints. It also includes a couple of new clans. There were a few, and now you have a few more. The one that appeases me most is the New World Unity. These guys recognize science and rational thinking along with order and security. Now, they're nomadic, which is interesting, so that's going to make me a bit more able to use sorts of buildings that allow you to collect resources within an area. Now we're going to start with the prologue. I'm not going to do the tutorial, and let's begin.
When I was 15, I buried my sister with my own hands. Some think the event was the cause, but it all began long before. I remember the times of confusion and strife. I heard the silence that drowned the screams. The event, it was simply the final blow. Some say those in charge failed us. Others, that we are all to blame. But we dwell too much on what's behind. I say, let's focus on what lies ahead. And ahead, I see hard-working hands building houses. I see strong backs carrying food. And smiles. The smiles that greet newcomers. I cried when my sister died. And now we mourn our friend as she is taken by the water. But tomorrow, I don't fear tomorrow I'll be crying. Because I know if we make it, we can all sit back and laugh.
So here we are. Very, very small group of people. Your attention is needed. Yes, I imagine so. This game wants me to do something. We've arrived! This is where the scouts sent up those flares. It looks like they were right. They found the signs I told them to look for. I must say, I'm a touch nervous. We're going to try restarting civilization. That's a really big goal. Or at least give it that initial spark. However, this isn't something that people do every day, you know? No, it takes a while. Speaking of, this is where we're going to launch our search for the pre-event rebirth power plant. It was top of the line just before everything collapsed. For over 20 years, only scavengers have roamed this place, setting up temporary camps from time to time, probably unaware of the treasure to be found here. Now, I have the most trustworthy intel that the plant is somewhere in the area. First though, I'm hungry. I guess everyone is. We can't jumpstart civilization on an empty stomach. So, let's get the food situation solved first, and make sure that we get the primary resources in order. We're to start a new civilization here in the wetlands. We need to build an infrastructure to rest upon. Very good. Let's do that. Let's go and build some exploratory buildings and make sure that we at least have some resources that we can pick. Being the nomadic, or having the nomadic trait, should aid in this little enterprise. So, with some food stored, it seems like we're going to be safe for a while. Or it's going to be enough for a while. We have gathered the food sources. Excellent. The scouts we sent to explore this area have moved on to continue their expedition. I need to find the scouts as they're hiding in the nearby ruins. So, they're supposedly somewhere in here. We need to set up a search area in order to find these people. Where are my scouts? Ah. Well, I suppose there are the scouts. Let's have a look. It's a building remnant. It's going to give me a lot of construction materials, which they call rubbish in this game. And with that, it's considered a bunch of plastic in a good enough state to serve as a building material. So with this, I might be able to set up a bit of a camp. But I'm not so sure if we have enough building space here. There is some other trash lying around, such as boat wrecks. We have a large rubbish pile. A lot of stuff is washed up on this island. Another yacht wreck. It looks like would have been a pretty nice boat, actually. Way back in the day. There's a dead tree. I need to gather that using a hacksaw, but it's currently locked, so I need to get one of those first. So, let's ensure that we have people going and looking for our scouts. Figuring out whatever happened to those scouts, and seeing what they have learned since. Here we go. We found them. The scouts have barely survived the expedition. They lost most of their equipment and resources when their boats sank in the storm. Now they're happy to join us, but they need to be sure we have enough food if they are to be a part of our settlement. They say they can manage on their own for a while, and they don't want to be a burden. If I have 40 food, or more than 40 food, and I do, I can get these people to join me. So, welcome to the party. And they did come bearing some resources, including clanless people. So, my population has just increased. That's a pretty large scouting party, actually. Okay, outcome. 1 research. We've had our first theft. Seagulls. They're getting into everyone's food. So, if it's not scavengers, it's aerial scavengers. We need to start making some serious group storage buildings. The food is useless if it's being pilfered. Upgrade the encampment into a permanent storage facility. So, what do we need for that? I need to get 300 plastic, and I only have 155. So, I say we're going to search this wreck, and we're going to search this wreck, and we're going to get those resources that I need. Each person that joins the camp, of course, is going to be a blessing and a burden. Because, on the one hand, yes, they're very, very welcome to join me. But, at the same time, they're going to be extra mouths to feed. Which means I'll have to make sure I get enough food coming in. I got 255 plastic, I do need to get a bit more. And let's go into tech development. I can develop into a small storage for 1 research point, and you can see there's a lot of stuff that you can research. This is just the new start. There's going to be a whole bunch of parts that we will eventually be able to research. For now, though, let's get this one researched, and then we'll be able to upgrade it. It is going to take that additional resources, so wow, this one guy brought in 300 plastic? Good lord, these people are very strong. Okay. I'm all for it. Mushroom clusters. Okay, I do need to get a forager hut. I do believe that the mushroom picker's hut is new. This has been added by the patch, so in order to get this, I'll have to research it first, and I don't have the research points for it. How do you gather those? I currently don't know, because I haven't played the game long enough. So we'll have to get potentially some events or some research done. There we go. Upgraded the encampment. The seagulls will not be getting into our food stores. Excellent. Since we've turned our encampment into storage, we no longer have a place to sleep. So for now, we've built ourselves provisional tarps. That's a step downwards. Provide tents for your people. Aye aye. Let's have a look. This is, I believe, part of the new start as well. We're going to look into their well-being. And the tent is the first thing I can research, all the way up to, eventually, shack, home, cabin, house. This also leads to buildings such as the herbal station, pharmacy, wind power plant, coal generator, clinics. You get a lot of different things that you can get. And that is just survival and well-being. Let's have a look at exploration. There's the small storage. We can get a scaffolding production eventually. We'll receive a new operating mode, woodcutting station. Okay, nice. So this is basically upgrading the buildings that you have, or at least some of them. Reclaimed radio tower. Allows you to locate resources in a place of interest. I like this. I like this. Let's go and get the tents, which is, I believe, survival. No? My bad. Tents. Here we go. Develop that, and get a couple of these tents built. Because this sleeping arrangement does not seem to be very good. So let's get a couple of tents built. And I don't know if we're going to have to be using a road at some point. I can see that's going to cost me 150 per. And we can only shelter 3 people. I have 20. So we're going to need a substantial amount of tents. That's 18. That's 21. I'm going to need more plastic. I am going to need a lot more plastic. This can be upgraded into a renovated house. But I suppose I don't know how to do that yet. Let's go and explore a bit more. Because right now, I simply don't see enough resources that I can get. Oh, there's a whole bunch of plastic here. That's good. So let's go and collect all that. And make sure that we start using these resources. Search this. Yep, search and explore. Oh, we need to complete what we do. Okay, got it. Fabulous start. 10's provided. 10 research granted. So now I can start using that research. Time for a reality check. We knew this wouldn't be a quick camping adventure. Before we can even start looking for the power plant, we have to think about setting up something more permanent and more sustainable, with solid, sustainable methods of gathering food, water, and materials. Yeah, this is where I kind of clash with the nomadic nature. I don't think that's going to work very well. I think it's going to be a bit of a winding path, but never forget that keeping people's basic needs met is what is most important. When it comes to being in charge, that is. I have a couple of objectives. Provide a steady supply of edible plants or fish, ensure that we have access to water, and ensure that we have a supply of rubbish. Or rather, gather a supply. So, let's go and research some additional stuff. Develops technologies based on rubbish. So this is basically an overarching tech tree, I believe. Because we're first going to go from basic tools to rubbish to wood, rubble, planks, etc. Eventually we'll be able to build with concrete, but that seems to be a long way off. So, I can get the forager hut. This is probably what I'm going to need in order to start using those berries. We have a standard operating mode or a herb operating mode. Fishing dock sounds like a good idea. Because with this, I should be able to start working on a more stable food supply. When it comes to growth, the sorting hut. What is this going to do? Enables collecting rubbish from the area. Sounds good. Let's get those buildings built first and see what they require. So, growth. I need the sorting hut. And I want to place that over here. And I want to have a look at survival and build a fishing dock in a spot where we can actually get some fish. And this seems to be a decent spot. There's 50 food here. I don't know about the rest of those spots. So we'll have to wait and see. I think it needs to be half in the water, half on the shore. There we go. So, no materials for the fishing dock. That is a problem. I need to get a couple more units of rubbish. Let's go and get that. Make sure we get this building supplies. And then we're going to go ahead and get the rest of the stuff built. Alright, the fishing dock is operational. And we should now be getting fish. The fish is going to be risky food. So I might need to do something about that risky food in order to turn it into more safe food. Which I suspect is going to be the department of the field kitchen. Makeshift kitchen, standard operating mode. It's going to turn our risky food into safe food. So I'd like to get one of those. The real question is, can I actually afford that? Because I barely have any resources left. It's going to take 300 wood. And I have plenty of that, thankfully. So let's make sure I place that one down. Get that built, make that a high priority. Because I have been out of food for a while. And if you are out of food, the game is going to start feeding your population risky food. Which in turn can get these people poisoned. So that is a pretty bad outcome. Let's make sure this gets built. Everybody goes to bed, of course. I don't have any water left either. Oops. My bad. There we go. We have the meals. We should have enough fish for a while. There are a couple of these renewable resource spots nearby. So if I don't overfish it, it should be fine. It's going to output... Yeah, it's going to output some, but potentially not enough. So I will have to look into getting more of that stuff. I also need to have a clean source of water. Right now, I don't have anything like that. So let's see, where can we get water? This is a water purifier. Oh, here, the water still. It's going to take me 1 research point, and that's all I have left. So it's almost like the game exactly gave me enough. Needs to be built on shallow water. 320 building cost. I only have 30. So let's have a look. Where can I get additional plastics? I believe there's a whole bunch of plastic here. I do need to build this using the sorting hut. So I demolished my sorting hut before because I didn't actually have the right place for it. I believe this is going to be a better spot. Interestingly, you do need a bit in order to build it. So lacking that, I might be able to use some of these smaller piles, and that should give me enough to build a sorting hut. This one I can't gather just like that. I can get another sorting hut over here. This boat wreck has been all dried up, and over here we have a place of interest. There's potentially people in there, but considering my fairly precarious situation with food and water, I'm honestly not too interested in just taking on new people just yet. As for trees, let's see, what's out this way? Just explore here, and explore there, and explore there. I need to be able to get a bit more of a bearing on my surroundings, because right now I don't feel like I know enough. There we go, we are getting safe food. That's progress. It doesn't really feel like it's doing much. It's doing well enough. It's going to take 10, it's going to output 10. So, is that enough? I don't know. I'm taking -1 per day, I have 1. Yeah, not exactly. I'm also bleeding water by 20 per day. So making sure that I have a clean source of water, very high priority. Shallow source of, or shallow depth of water, so this should be enough. Or, no, hold on, I should probably put a sorting hut over there. And put the water still somewhere in a position where it's less obstructing everything else. So let's go over there. This is going to be coming up, there we go. We're now getting a load of plastics. There's about 600 of that here. And there's another 600 there. So that should keep me going for a while with plastics. And after that, we're going to get the water stills. We're going to make sure that we get a good source of water. Food is still going down very, very quickly. I'm not sure how much I need. It's going to increase by 33 in 3 days. Yeah, but is that enough? I don't exactly know why you don't get a rain catcher right from the get-go. That does seem like a fairly basic building. And rainwater might not be entirely safe. I mean, I don't know exactly what happened during the event. But I'd say rainwater is still a better source than just going at it without water. Or drinking whatever the hell's in here. You can still see flooded houses here, by the way. Streets, street lights. A lot went wrong in this world. A lot's going wrong in our world as well. So, let's get this steady water source operational. Start mining this. Start building that. And that should ensure that we have the basic necessities met. There we go, that's another 25 being delivered. I now have all the tents that I need. I do have 5 idle people. And considering that I'm not too happy about the performance of my food production... Whoops. Let's go and get another bit of... another bit of a fishing dock operational. Yeah, I think this is a fairly decent spot. There's a pretty healthy amount of population around. So let's go and do that. Make sure that's functional. Get more food. And, well, I don't exactly know the ratios, but I think a second field kitchen should be helpful. Considering the current rate of production, I don't feel like I'm getting enough. So, I do feel very much like I need to get more. Our food is disgusting. People will get upset soon. Stop complaining. I'm doing what I can. And if you don't like it, you can eat your fish raw. And see how that goes. That is, if we're even catching enough. There's a little dinghy. A little rubber boat. With the fishermen. Dropping off resources here. And we're getting 15 fish per day. We're getting 15 food per day. But considering we're getting 20 pop, I think it's going to be a 1-to-1 ratio. So yeah, we're going to definitely need more. There we go. We're permanent and sustainable. Now that we have a clean source of water. Giving me 18 research points. Let's see what the game wants me to do next. They want me to have a place for people to study and gain enough research. We should start studying everything we can. Old world relics, water levels, radiation levels on our food. The more we know, the more likely we are to succeed. All knowledge is good knowledge. Very good. Let's go and get some research done. That's going to be part of the wood tech tree apparently, which is going to cost me 15 research points out of 18. That feels like quite a lot, but it is going to allow me to get a study. Makeshift facility provides people with a place to learn, which means we're going to turn relics, and I have a few of those, old world relics, into 10 science points. So you get about 50 points from that, and I do think that's going to be very useful. So let's go and build that and make sure that we start to get at least something of a resource or something of an influx of science coming in. Let's put that over there. We are also working on the second fishing dock, but I'm not exactly happy with the output of this building. Yes, it's getting me some, it's getting 60 per day, but this is going to take 300, so that's 5 days of work. That's quite a bit. And we're all taking it over there as opposed to over here. So yeah, in that sense, logistics could use some work. We are now getting water, but how much water? 17.5. So arguably not enough water. And it's currently on standard operating mode. I suspect later I'll be able to change that operating mode and make it so that potentially we're going to work night shifts just as much. And that way you might be able to increase production. But right now, I'm just scraping by with the amount of food and the amount of water that I'm getting. And after a bit of mismanagement of resources, we have our first death. Robert Wazinski will be greatly missed, and remembered as a strong and supportive person who always got along with those around them. Also, they were very dedicated to finding the Rebirth power plant, and they were going to find it one day, and this death won't be in vain. So this is definitely down to me making sure that I did not, or rather not making sure that I got enough resources. Base resources, food, water. I have a couple of options. I can prefer a ceremony involving giving the body to the water. No thank you, we're drinking that water. I can give him a burial, I can study the body, and I can give the body to the friends and family and decide, no. I'm not going to let them decide. I should study the body to avoid more deaths. This is going to give me 10 research. Nice. 19 people are happy about that. Because it is in line with the thinking of this clan. Because science is good and knowledge is excellent. So between these choices, I think right now I picked the best one. After a bit of scouting, I have found additional survivors. There's people hiding in these ruins. They're willing to join us, but they don't want to breed ill will by forcing anyone to share water rations with them. So we need to have sufficient supply of drinking water. Yeah, I don't have anywhere near that. So let's come back for these people later. They're going to wait patiently. Very good. I suppose they're fine where they are, apparently. Getting them is going to give me another 10 population. Now, I did have a couple more deaths, I suspect, because I started out with 19, and now I have 14. So, yeah, I have a food crisis, another person has starved to death, so my colony definitely isn't off to a good start. I hope yours will be, so be sure to check out the link down below in the description. Let me know what your thoughts are on the game down below in the comment section. I quite enjoy it. I am not very good at it, as you can tell, because I'm definitely learning as I'm moving along. I hope your colony will do better. I hope you will actually have people survive. Let me know down below in the comments as well whether you'd like me to do more of this game. I think it's nice and relaxing. I could definitely wrap a story around this, insofar as the game doesn't already do that. And I definitely look forward to playing more of it. Again, link down below in the description. Thanks for the sponsors for sponsoring the video, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. See you guys soon for more.